Picture this. You've got 22 players crammed into the penalty box. A ball gets whipped in at top speed, and suddenly it's just a chaotic, physical scramble for a header. I mean, it looks like pure instinct, right? And usually it just ends with millions of fans yelling at their screens. But what if there was actually a hidden mathematical order behind all of that chaos? What if a computer could literally calculate the absolute perfect starting position and running speed for every single attacking player, practically guaranteeing a shot on goal? To put this into perspective, this one static, kind of overlooked set piece actually accounts for up to 30% of all goals scored in a professional season. Think about that for a second. Almost a third of a team's entire offensive output can come from these isolated, highly structured restarts. The stakes for getting this right are absolutely massive. The clubs that master this are quite literally winning titles because of it. So, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into exactly how advanced technology, specifically artificial intelligence, is completely revolutionizing football tactics. We're moving way beyond just basic video analysis now, and entering an era where algorithms are working right alongside elite managers to find those razor-thin competitive advantages. Part 1. The Rise of the Set-Piece Specialists. Because the margins in elite football are so incredibly tight these days, we've seen this sudden explosion of dedicated set-piece coaches. We're talking about specialists, guys like Nicolas Jover or Gianni Voix, whose entire job is just to hunt for marginal gains in dead ball situations. When a corner is given, they're the ones sprinting to the edge of the technical area, shouting these incredibly specific instructions. And look at the sheer contrast in philosophies here and the numbers that follow. On the left, we've got Arsenal. They brought in Nicolas Jover, and they equaled a Premier League record by scoring 16 set-piece goals, conceding only 6. On the right, Tottenham Hotspur's manager Ange Postecoglou famously dismissed focusing on set pieces. And the results? Well, Spurs conceded 16 goals from set pieces and scored only 11. That's a staggering 21-goal differential between a team prioritizing these routines and one that simply doesn't. And the analytics totally back this up. If you look at metrics like set-piece expected goals, or SPXG, which is basically the mathematical odds of scoring from a dead ball, it maps perfectly to league table positions. Generally speaking, the top 6 clubs generate the highest attacking SPXG and concede the lowest. Liverpool is a prime example here. They heavily prioritize defensive set plays, conceding very few chances, which keeps them right at the top of the table. On the flip side, teams like Leicester and Wolves have really struggled at both ends of the pitch despite actually hiring specialists, which proves that just having a set-piece coach isn't some magic fix if your strategy or execution isn't absolutely flawless. But here's where the story gets really fascinating. Human analysis, coaches watching thousands of hours of video to find these little advantages, it's finally hitting its absolute limits. I mean, the human brain can only process so many player combinations. And that is exactly where tech giants like Google DeepMind enter the pitch. They looked at a corner kick and saw it not just as a football play, but as a perfect, highly structured data environment. Part 2. The AI Revolution in Football. Let's see how this builds into an entirely new paradigm. AI isn't just sitting there evaluating past data anymore. It is actively discovering totally new, generalizable tactical setups that human coaches might never have even considered. To pull this off, the AI uses a concept called geometric deep learning. So instead of looking at the pitch as this flat grid of X and Y coordinates, this machine learning technique represents the data as a graph. It treats every single player as a node and the relationships between them as edges. It realizes that in football, the spatial relationship and the movement between a defender and an attacker is actually way more important than their absolute distance from the corner flag. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how the machine perceives the game. You don't see jerseys or green grass here, you just see a web of interconnected nodes. By stripping the beautiful game down to this geometric graph, the AI can efficiently learn how players influence each other. This is the foundational step, really, that sets the stage for algorithmic optimization. The computer suddenly understands the physics and the spatial pressure of a corner kick. Once the AI grasps that setup, it fires up a graph reinforcement learning process to find the perfect tactic. It basically runs through 4 specific steps. First, it analyzes the initial graph state of all the players. Second, the AI agent takes an action. Maybe it adjusts the starting position or the running velocity of an attacking player. Third, it updates the environment to see how that tiny change plays out. And fourth, it calculates a reward. In this case, the goal is maximizing the expected first contact shot probability, or XFCS. In plain English, It's trying to mathematically guarantee that an attacker is the very first person to get their head on the ball. And here we can see exactly what that agent's action looks like. The AI isn't just handing out vague, abstract advice. It outputs highly specific, actionable coaching instructions. Notice those pink circles representing the attackers? The AI is suggesting precise tweaks to their starting locations and literally drawing out black arrows to dictate their exact running speeds. It might tell your star striker, hey, start half a meter to the left and run 10% faster, all to exploit a tiny gap that the human eye completely missed. This right here is that continuous reinforcement learning loop in action. The AI agent tests thousands of microscopic variations against a frozen defensive setup. It shifts a player, runs the simulation, calculates the shot probability, and then learns from it. It does this over and over and over in a closed loop until it mathematically solves the defense, finding the single most dangerous attacking setup possible. Part 3. DeepMind and Liverpool FC. Now, this isn't just theoretical lab research either. DeepMind actually fed their system, which they call TacticAI, thousands of Premier League corners in this groundbreaking collaborative project with elite experts at Liverpool FC, and it proved it has some truly incredible core capabilities. It can accurately predict which player will be the first receiver of the ball. It can forecast whether a shot attempt will even happen, based entirely on the pre-kick setup. Most importantly, it recommends those generative player position adjustments we were just talking about. Plus, it acts as this incredibly smart search engine, retrieving structurally similar historical corner tactics from past games, so coaches can easily see what worked before. But the true test, right, was how human experts actually received this. When DeepMind tested TacticAI with 5 elite football experts at Liverpool, including real coaches and analysts, the results were just mind-blowing. When they were shown a real defensive setup from a game, alongside a slightly adjusted setup generated by the AI to prevent a shot, the human coaches preferred the AI's suggested tactics an incredible 90% of the time. I want to read this powerful quote directly from the study, just to really drive this home. TacticAI's model suggestions are not only indistinguishable from real tactics, but also favored over existing tactics 90% of the time. That is huge. The AI isn't just spitting out some abstract, impossible math that would cause players to collide on the pitch. It's producing highly realistic, game-ready football strategies that elite professionals instantly recognize as better than what they had originally planned. Part 4. Winning fine margins. And the crazy thing is, the corner kick is just the beginning. The insights we're gaining from mapping the pitch like this have massive implications across the whole sport. Beyond corners, analysts are now using powerful prediction algorithms, like XGBoost, to analyze the geometric danger of long throw-ins. They're using GRU sequence models, which track how chaotic events unfold over time, to analyze those crazy few seconds right after a throw-in lands. And companies like StatsBomb are developing advanced metrics like hops, which specifically maps a player's aerial duel ability. That lets a coach mathematically guarantee that their absolute best jumper is positioned exactly where the opponent tends to cross the ball. However, it is absolutely vital to remember the core takeaway here. AI is a collaborative, tactical assistant. It is not a replacement for the human coach. Football is always going to require human connection, motivation, and that gut instinct, on-the-fly decision-making. Tools that graph reinforcement learning and TacticAI, they are here to assist managers. They exist to find those razor-thin margins and hidden geometric patterns, ultimately saving coaches thousands of hours of video analysis, so they can just focus on executing the game plan. Which leaves us with this final, somewhat provocative thought. We've seen how incredibly effective machine learning can be at untangling the pure chaos of 22 players fighting for a ball in the penalty area. It has mathematically mastered the corner kick. So, as these algorithms get even smarter and the data gets even richer, what part of the beautiful game will AI solve next? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this completely changes how you watch the next corner kick.